Hey there, we're back with part 3 of the All Skills Guide for Ori, and now here we're going to get into one particularly tough segment of the run. So there's a whole bunch of tricks coming up, and I'm going to move through this part pretty slowly, so we're going to be talking about tricks a bunch and not really not progressing through the run too quickly, but you'll see. So first things first, in the previous segment I didn't make any safety saves whatsoever going through Valley. You're welcome to make safety saves in this part as long as you have 3 energy after getting Feather, and if you don't, you can just go up here and level charge dash, or you can level charge dash on this Spirit Well if you've forgotten up top. You can also save here to get yourself back to full energy. I don't need to because I've got 3, which is enough. But if you have 2 energy here, then it's best to just go up and take this save. Note that you have a save when you've picked up Feather, so it's not saving you, like it's not a, you're not going to go back before Feather here, but it's just to get the energy. And the reason for that is because we just learned Charge Dash. And Charge Dash costs energy on use. We'll just go through some Charge Dash mechanics here. It normally costs energy on use, and there's a trick which always makes it cost energy called Rocket Dashing, which is going to be what we're doing now. But let's talk about Charge Dash a bit. So normally you Charge Dash and it spends energy. There are several ways that you can prevent Charge Dash from costing energy. One of them, and the most common one, is by bashing before your Charge Dash finishes on some targets. So you can see I'm constantly Charge Dashing to that thing, until I missed it. I'm getting all my energy back. And that's pretty easy to do because you can just bash at the same time as you start your Charge Dash. A bash, if held, will grab anything that comes into contact with you in the next half second, whereas a Charge Dash goes through its entire distance in about a quarter of a second, a little bit less than even. So you can always Charge Dash and bash at the same time, and that will take you to a thing and grab it and refund your energy. So let's go back up. Another way you can refund Charge Dash, which I wouldn't worry about too much for now, is you can stomp before it ends. These inputs are a little more difficult. Like you can chain it together by doing something like this, where you stomp and jump out of the stomp, which is faster in some situations, so you should be aware of it, but I'm not going to rely on stomp cancels really for this guide. It's just the advanced movement tech, basically. So you can do stuff like that, where you chain a couple Charge Dashes together. Now, rocket jumping. Rocket jumping is when you interrupt a Charge Dash. Kind of similar to dash gliding. You can interrupt a Charge Dash with a jump or Feather usage. And that will kind of retain some of your dashing properties. And normally, you know, that's just use dash gliding, whatever. But when you're Charge Dashing, you can be Charge Dashing not horizontally. You can Charge Dash at things that are above you. And by interrupting a vertical Charge Dash with a jump or Feather, you will retain your vertical speed, which gives you ridiculous jumps like this one. So that's just a Charge Dash at something that's above me, and then instantly interrupting it with a jump. And you can set up a bind for that in the Key Rebindings file that I mentioned back in part 1. So that's what we're going to do here to get up to Valley. Is we're going to head over to get up to the top of Valley to get into Sorrow. So that's what we're going to do here. Grab this frog, take him over here, and then get back up to where our previous save was. I just did a sequence of Charge Dash bash cancels on those birds to retain my energy. Now, reason we needed at least 3 energy is because we're going to break that crystal, get 2 energy, and then we can rekindle the save, so that we have full energy entering Sorrow, because we're going to use a whole bunch of energy in Sorrow Pass. So I'm going to now explain this next trick. This next trick is definitely the hardest one to learn in the run. That's mandatory. There's a bunch of tough things you can do that saves small bits of time, which I've added in annotated videos or just mentioned in passing, not really done in this tutorial. But this sequence break to get to Sorrow Pass early and not do Misty Woods or Forlorn Ruins saves you something like 20 minutes, so it's not really optional in any sense of the word, and it's not an easy trick to do. So I'm just going to do a couple and talk about a few methods of it. So first I'll just do one, and then we'll take a look at some other stuff. So I've got this saved, so in the event I die, I can come back there. So the method I use for Sorrow is to get a double bash on this bird, and then have him follow you. Okay, that was too low. Nice. Let me reload and save. So let that bird come up past me, and then double bash him, and get him into the corner, and then bash charge. Yeah, bash him up and charge dash to him. So the movement, okay, first before we talk about individual parts, I'm just going to do the exact same thing, but with the game running at 1/3 speed, just so you can see things, you know, as they come together. So first, you get to this bird. We're just going to do a bash glide over this second bird so that he charges up past us. We're going to bash him up with a double bash so that we can follow him up as well. And then we're going to bait him to do a flat dash towards us here. So I just want to be hovering above the spikes so that he doesn't hit the roof or anything. And then I'll bash him into the corner so that he doesn't hit that roof, and then air dash after him. And I did that I did that air dash too slowly because I was talking, so I fell into the spike. So let's do that again. So we get the bird to go above us here, and then you bash him up with a double bash. And then he'll follow us to around here below this overhanging roof. Hopefully not hit the roof. He's pretty close to the roof, so I gotta make sure he goes into the corner without hitting it. And then that he was actually too low. He was actually too low because I had this position a little wrong. It's a little weird doing this slowly. But now you can kind of see how these elements come together. So once again, we'll attempt to succeed a Sorrow bash in slow motion. So we get the bird, double bash him up, and then get him to follow us. Having him down lower here is kind of nice because then I can angle him up a bit. And then we just grab him in the corner, and I charge dashed at a rhythm that was way too fast because I just did it at a rhythm that I would do in normal speed, but it still worked anyways. So let's return the game to normal speed, and we'll talk about some components of that. So when you get the bird in the corner, what you want to do is bash him up and be holding feather the entire time. So you see I'm holding feather here and I'm not going down at all when I bash down. If I'm not holding feather, then I get that happening, or I'll fall a fair bit. And if you do that in the corner, you'll just instantly die to the spikes. So what you want to do is bash down. You can even jump after you bash down to give yourself more time. You don't really have to. If you bash down, then you just do a charge dash bash to the bird. And that'll get you up there. You can also like double bash the bird in the corner, but the charge dash bash is faster and generally easier. But hang on. Like if I had the bird in the corner, you can also like do something like that. So let me just see if I can show that off. Why is timescale 1.5? Okay, we're fine now. So there's also like this option where you do the same initial setup with this double bash, or you know, miss a whole bunch of double bashes. Nice. Ran him into spikes. Yeah, same initial setup with a double bash, and then get him into the corner. And then rather than doing a charge dash bash, you can double bash in there, which in some cases can be nice, because as noted from before, if you charge dash at something that's too low on health, like if you failed this double bash to get him into position too many times, once you're up here. Like if you missed this a bunch and kept reducing his health, then if the charge dash were to kill him, you might not get the bash off. So that would be one reason to double bash again in the corner. But I tend to just stick with charge dashing anyways, because you'll likely get the bash, even if his health is too low. Like, let's just... I can't damage him. Whatever. Anyways, so that's that. So now, normally I would only have 3 or 4 health here. I would not have 5 health, which means those spikes would be an instant kill. But I picked up this 5th health cell just to show you some other techniques which involve damage boosting. So I guess I'll talk about those in a sec, but first let's do a method for this which doesn't involve a double bash. And I'm going to use 2 birds for this instead. And if you're playing on controller, or if you're just not like used to the rhythm of double bashing yet, this is another good way to do the Sorrow Bash. So what you're going to do is, rather than aggroing the other bird immediately, you're going to go over top so that these 2 birds reset. And note that you can actually practice this quite easily by putting a save right where I'm standing right now. And the way you can get on this ledge easily is not by, like, you know, just tapping left to barely land here because there's spikes right next to me, but rather you just double jump into the wall. You just like a quick right and double jump and then go to neutral inputs. You'll just stand on the edge here. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop off the edge and aggro both of the birds, and then instead of a double bash to get the bird to do a flat dash up here, we're going to bash off one of the birds and just have the other one follow us. So done well, it should be something like this. So now the guy's just following me, and I can do exactly the same setup as before. Now as for having 5 health here, there's an alternate way you can do this. There's a couple different damage boost ways you can do this, and this would probably be the easiest one. Wait, I just reverted to my setup. This would probably be the easiest one. I haven't practiced it too much, so hopefully it doesn't go too badly. So I'm going to get the birds in position, we're going to aggro them together. And then I'm just going to go eat those spikes over there. I should not have charge dashed to this bird at the start. He needs to be at full health. Okay. Let's set up the birds correctly. So yeah, don't aggro the second bird. Get over here, wait for them to reset. Then aggro both of them. And now, rather than doing anything with the bird, we just run into the spikes once. And then do the same thing in the corner. Bash him up holding feather, charge dash bash. And that's that. If you don't like the part of this strategy where you do the air dash, there's another thing you can do here. Although I don't like this one very much personally, is you just damage boost off that bird instead and jump off the spikes real quick. There I failed it. But let's see if I can do it properly. Something like that. And I got a little bit too low, but you can do a bird damage boost there, which doesn't require you to have 5 health, but I'll just show the 5 health method. This is not the 5 health method, that's my initial setup. 5 health method once again, with no double bashes. So get both the birds to attack. You miss grabbing the guy off the wall, and you try again. There we go. So just glide across, take damage, and then try not to bash yourself into the spikes. Just giving a full summary of all the ways you can fail Zero Bash here. I should not have charge dashed him. I'm so used to doing this with just my setup. But I'll just do a few more of these because you're going to probably be spending a lot of time on this trick, so I just want to give like a sort of full representation of ways you can do it, and we're giving a very full representation of ways you can fail it as well, it would appear. Okay. So there you go with the damage boost once again. The bird even lived. Amazing. So yeah, you could practice either from this save, or you could place a save up on the up on next to the spikes here just to get used to the bird manipulation. And I'll just maybe go through just like a non-double bash way with no damage boost, and we'll slow it down just so you can get a sense of how these birds get manipulated. So let's go back down to a 3rd game speed with a save up here. I'm going to also refund my energy and then save again, because I would not have placed this save normally. Although I'll talk about things you can do in Sorrow if you're low on energy. So we're just going to run off the edge here. Going to get both birds' attention. And I shouldn't have dashed back to the ledge, but for some reason I felt that I need to. Get both birds' attention, and then just jump back here. This feels so weird slowed down. But you jump off the ledge, you bash off the top bird. This one's not going to work. I'm used to doing this in full speed. Alright. So you get both birds' attention, you head back to the wall. You jump off the wall faster than that, because you need to catch the top bird. Okay, this one was good. So yeah, you bash off the top bird straight up, and then you're just holding feather and right to get the guy to follow you. And then you just want to get low enough so that he doesn't hit this roof, basically. And you can bash him into the corner and then do an air dash to chase him down. Voila. So that's Sorrow Bash. So let's move on from that. You're definitely going to spend many, many deaths right there. But that should be a reasonable description to start with. Okay. So now we're going to go into Sorrow. There's no more forced damage boosting here, so it doesn't really matter what your health is, although, you know, higher is better so that some 2 damage hits don't kill you, but doesn't really matter. If you did all the energy correctly up till now, you'll still have 4 energy, but you can still manage in ways with less. You just have to cut out either some rocket dashes or doing the Sunstone first strategy. So we'll get into what that is right now. So first things first, you're going to rocket dash off this bird. If you hold W for a charge dash, or charge, whatever, you can see he's not quite lit up blue yet, so I just need to be a little bit above this to make this bird light up blue, which indicates I can target him with a charge dash. So all you need to do is kind of like jump like this, and then just do a rocket dash off of him. And then you're going to grab this key. You're going to grab this frog. Let me put the frog back and talk about this a little bit more. Okay. Nobody noticed that. It's fine. So you're going to get on this platform. This would be an optional time to save. I'm going to debug save here because I think there's a way better time to save. Although I'll note that optimally you don't save in Sorrow. But I would not recommend not saving in Sorrow when you're learning because these tricks are not so easy. So anyways, we get up here. We get this frog. We bash him onto this platform, wait for him to not be stunned by bash, and then we just rocket jump past him. And that will let him break the roof. And you might be asking, well, I mean, why do we need to do that? Why can't we just take his shot up? For whatever reason, frog shots have like a limited height, and you can see it there, like I couldn't bash it past that area. And it's based on where you are when the frog shoots. So by doing that rocket jump, we get super high up when the frog shoots, and his shot can break the roof for us. Now note that you can't do it immediately, like I can't do that and have it work. It's nice, like, tight, fast movement, but the frog is still stunned by the bash. He hasn't landed on the platform yet and prepared to shoot, so I just, like, skipped out of his aggro range too quickly. So you just want to kind of take it easy here, let him get unstunned, and then do your rocket jump, and he'll break the roof for you. So, yeah, you're going to do that. You could save there if you wanted, but I'm not going to save there. I'm gonna show a different route here. So we're going to break the roof. We're going to save here, which I think I already mentioned, but in an optimal Sorrow, you won't make any safety saves. So because we made this safety save, I'm going to go down. I'm going to get this energy. So ideally, you would break the roof, get the energy, and then you can come up here and save. So let's just save there now that we're back at 2. Or, you know, you didn't save and you still have 2 energy here. So what we're going to do here is we're going to charge dash through this laser. This is really easy. You just have to stand very close to it And Ori moves so fast when charge dashing that you will be like here by the first frame after you charge dash. You'll be already be on the other side of the laser, so you won't die to it. And you're gonna want the energy back, so it's a charge dash with a bash cancel on this frog. And then you're gonna come over here, stomp that post, and you're gonna throw this rock onto that laser. And now we're going to do a trick called frog juggle. I'm going to show you the good frog juggle right now, where we don't heal this frog, because you know, in most runs like if you were doing an optimal Zoro, you wouldn't have been able to save there, so we can't heal the frog anyways. But you come up here and then you just bash him out at an angle and then dash after him and get him into the wind tunnel. And then we're just going to juggle him up. And you can extend his health by doing some double bashes like this, but you don't need to. You can get him all the way up with just single bashes. And then once again, we'll get him to break the roof. You don't need a rocket dash for him to break that roof. It's a lot easier. And then we're gonna rocket jump off to up to the top, which I missed. So I'll just show this part in its completion once more, and then we'll talk about a couple little variant strats that can make it easier. Particularly the frog juggle. It's a strat that's been around for a very long time, and I have a lot of practice with it from vanilla. So if you're just learning the game, like, not dropping this frog can be a little challenging. It looks kind of easy. Like once you get him bashing straight up, it's pretty easy, but getting the angles right to not throw him into spikes or something right at the start is important. So you just rocket dash up here, and then you're gonna break this thing, which you can do either with charge flame or just by charge dashing into it. Charge dashing into it's generally better because Sign takes forever to catch up to you to actually charge flame it. But if you did miss that charge dash, you'd be pretty toast because you'd be out of energy and you'd need to do a save up here. So okay, now let's go back to that save and talk about some alternate routes through this part. So I mentioned like his low health because of that charge dash. If we just reload our file, basically, after we set up this part, so we've already charge dashed off of him. Oh, he killed me! That was rude. Alright, we'll do that again. So, idea is, get the frog out of the way, and then save and just die. And now he'll be at full health again, which lets me, like, I could, you know, do something like this where I set up the juggle really well by, like, getting him right on the edge first, and then I can practically do vertical bashes, because he has so much health, like, it's very, very easy to do this juggle. And then we're just doing the same thing at the top. Now, if for example, some bad things happen, like let's say we killed this frog, or we were too low on energy to do the frog juggle, then what you can do instead, and even instead of doing the frog juggle at all, is rather than putting this rock on the laser, tumbleweed, whatever you want to call it, we're going to bash it out the top here, which can be done a lot cleaner than that, but then you just push it into this spot, pull it off, and then bash it up, and it's going to rise up to the top. And then, rather than going immediately to Sunstone, you can get charge jump first. I'm just going to debug myself charge jump before returning to the normal route. You can get charge jump first, and then bash this thing down, and do a charge jump off of it, and that will break the roof, rather than using the frog for it. Big problem with that is you don't get the rocket jump that takes you up to Sunstone, so I'm just going to return to the route with the rocket jump in it. Although, I should note that it's really only like 10 seconds slower to not do the rocket jump, so you can just set up a frog. Like, if you're not getting this rocket jump up at the top, or if you're having a lot of trouble with the frog juggle, like just sending the rock up, getting charge jump first, and then going to Sunstone is perfectly fine. But let's just do this way. It's actually way too... yeah, he's way too far to the right. I'll actually getting the rocket jump. Alright. Just juggling the frog. Now, okay, I guess one thing I didn't mention is it's important to pass the frog on the right so that he doesn't run under these spikes. Because if he's under those, then he can't hit the roof. He doesn't have a line on it. Alright, so we'll rocket jump up. Charge dash that. We're going to level off that. And then we're going to save and save anywhere. And then I turned UI off just to skip some dialogue lines here. And then we're going to wait for the Sunstone pickup sound. I'm going to turn UI back on so that there is a dialogue line right when we get the Sunstone pickup sound, just so you can hear it. But as soon as you get it, you can save and exit, and this skips the Sunstone cutscene. So right there, that sound that plays when this dialogue box would appear. You can just level up an ability. It doesn't really matter what ability you get. I always opt for Quick Flame and Spark Flame on these next two cutscene skips. But you could go in the purple tree. These are useless. These are slightly less useless, but still pretty useless. So it doesn't really matter. So now we're going to head over to Charge Jump. If you had done the rock strategy, you would have gone Charge Jump first, and then you'd just be going straight down. But the faster way is get that rocket jump and then go to Charge Jump. So here we can go store. And then grab ourselves Charge Jump. So now to the end of the game is largely just movement based. There's not too many tricks left. There's a couple, but not too many. So I'm just gonna play through it basically and talk about a few things. And I'm going to turn my UI back on because I'm supposed to leave the UI on in the guide. But yeah, after Sorrow, you're kind of in the home stretch. Although Misty is tough, don't get me wrong, but it has nothing compared to the difficulty of Sorrow for new players.